Good afternoon from Germany. Here's Pascal again. It is Wednesday before the Easter weekend. And we had some news pre-market, and we still have news incoming in 20 minutes. ISM non-manufacturing PMI, and we will live stream this together. I'm a little bit late today. Well, sorry, the words. I wanted to live stream pre-market, but it took a little bit longer with lunch, so therefore I will live stream the next news for you. And let's hop right into the market, because there is some volatility right now. Market is dipping back to the lows of even lower than the lows of yesterday. So you see we are down to lows of 13,144 points right now. So Nasdaq is down. Let's see this on a daily time frame. So we had the high point on previous Friday at 13,311, and we went lower today, and are retesting the previous lows here from Monday. So let's see if we can go lower. I'm still in a short position. I opened yesterday. You have seen it during the live stream right before the news. I went short here right above the VWAP at the 13,300 points. And then we had the news, a little bit positive. Then there was the sell-off, then the retest of the 20 EMA, and finally closed at the 20 EMA. Then sideways trading during the Asian session, during the European session went a little bit lower, retested pre-market highs, and had the sell-off there 1 hour before the market opened, or 75 minutes before the market opened, because there were the news. So we will have a look at these right now, and then see the next news in 20 minutes. So here is our economic calendar. We had ADP non-farm employment change, and like the previous numbers, this one was showing a little slowdown in economic growth, or rather in the labor market, because here we see 145k instead of 200 expected. So this is a big difference. Normally this would be taken positive, because if the number is slower, this also means that we have less inflation risk and therefore less fear of higher interest rates. But because the number is so much lower than expected, the market fears recession. We talked about this yesterday. If you haven't seen, rewatch it. And yeah, the number is a lot lower than the number that was expected. So let's see again the numbers from yesterday. So yesterday we had the Joel's job openings expected at 10.4 million, and we only had 9.9 million. And I said, if we are below 10, yes, then this would be positive. But also, it's a party in the first thinking. But then, if you overthink it, then you will know that this is a first sign of a recession. And here we now see more signs that a recession is incoming. Our employment change, it's still positive, of course, but a lot lower than expected. And this is not good for the economy in the long run, or over the next couple of months. So therefore the market will downturn here. First party, but here the number is a lot lower than expected. So if it would have been 195, 190k like expected, or a little bit lower than expected, then we probably could see a party here, but this is a lot lower than expected, and therefore it's a clearly negative sign in terms of growth of economy. So trade balance is more negative than the forecast, so also not a good sign here. So there are more imports than exports from the US. Yes, because the US dollar is still high compared to previous month, even if it's now a little bit less strong than it was some weeks ago. We can have a look at it right away. Euro USD is at 1.094 right now, so we are near my target of 1.10. So the euro was getting stronger in the previous trading days, but yeah, the US dollar is still strong if we compare the previous month. So if we go back to the beginning of 2021, there we see euro US dollar exchange rate was at 1.22.5, so it's still a lot lower now. As you can see, 10% below. This means that the goods from the US are a lot more expensive, and if you buy as an American from outside, from abroad, for example, from the euro area, then you will get a 10% discount because US dollar is stronger. And this is what you can see in the trade balance here for February, that it is still negative and more negative than expected, because it is cheaper to buy from abroad than to buy the more expensive goods from within the US. Okay, then let's see ISM manufacturing PMI. The expected number is 54.5. Previous number was 55.1. So we also see here a slowdown in expectation. Let's see if this number will also be weaker than expected. Let's see first the interest rate expectations for the next Federal Reserve meeting in 28 days. There we see again a shift back to no change here, 61% now. And yesterday we had it completely the other way. I think it was 56, 57% for the 25 basis points move. And now you see the shift back to no change here. And 39% for the 25 basis points move. Let's look at the probabilities. And for the ending year 2023, we still have the 4.25% now is the expectation. It was 4.5% yesterday. So it went a little bit lower here for the interest rate expectation for the end of the year, but it is still higher than 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it was at 3.75%. Let's see gold. Gold was interesting. We were talking about it yesterday to go back above the previous high points, and look at this rally yesterday. So yesterday we had a move of more than 2%, closed higher, and again we are trading 0.25% higher today. So because the interest rate expectations are going to lower levels, then this is good for gold. Less opportunity cost in the first sense, but if there will come up a recession, then probably we will see a downturn in gold prices. Because I will bring up a long-term chart for you for gold, then you will see that if you go back to the financial crisis in 2008, you will see when the stock market dipped here, let's see a monthly chart. When the stock market dipped back in 2008, the gold prices reached right above the $1,000 level. But then during October, November, we reached low points here of just $680. So this was about a 35% downturn in gold prices. So gold is not a real asset you want to hold during a financial crisis or during a recession, because it loses in value and it's not attractive. Even if we have high inflation, and if the expectations for the interest rates are going to lower levels, it's not interesting to hold gold during a recession. Therefore, be cautious, because we are near the all-time highs. So it can be a triple top. Don't over-exaggerate what to expect from the rising gold prices here. Maybe we'll just do a new high and then see a sell-off in 1 or 2 months. It's still a high price, even if the US dollar is a little bit weaker, so it is cheaper from abroad to buy it with an exchange, with another currency like euro or whatever. But I wouldn't trade it to the long side for a longer term here, because I know when there is a recession, then the gold prices will go lower, like we have seen in the past, also here in 2020, when there was a COVID crisis. Then it turned lower here, and then at the end of the year it turned higher again. But you see, when there is fear in the market, there's an outflow of gold, and everything is going back into cash. So the US dollar will be getting stronger when the crisis and the fear is coming up again. Okay, then crude oil. Crude oil still holding the levels here, closed at $80.71 yesterday. Today a little bit lower, but only 0.37% right now. Let's see if we can hold the line here and retest the previous highs at $83, but we were almost there. The high point here was $81.81. Still a little bit more to go here, but of course, if there are fears of recession, then we can also close this gap here below. Natural gas is trying the breakout today. We had the second doji yesterday, so still struggling to get out of this sideways trading area. Therefore, I told you wait for a clear sign of a reversal. Don't trade it to the long side too early unless you want to be stuck in the sideways trading phase here. So always be patient and wait for a clear sign of a reversal. This is stage 2. This was stage 1, the downturn, then sideways trading phase, and when we go above 225, then it's interesting and more interesting to take on a long trade and not being stuck here for trading it to the long side early and having to wait 1 or 2 more weeks until we see the breakout here. Yeah, what do I think of sugar? SB, let's see, SB. SB is still uptrending, so yeah, it's still interesting. It's still on my watch list, but I will wait for more signs to the downside. I don't want to trade it to the long side right now because it's really strong and there will probably be rejection, but I would wait for clear signs of a downturn and will not trade it to the long side right now, but it is still on my watch list. But yeah, it's clearly positive since we had this breakout here from the sideways trading, and therefore be cautious if you want to trade sugar to what side ever you want, to the long or short side, because the moves are a little bit bigger than they normally are within one day here. Then we have our stocks, Tesla and Nvidia. So Tesla has almost reached the previous neckline again here, should hold near the $187 level. So the low was $187.87 today. Let's see if it can finally hold there or if it will downturn together with the markets. But we were talking about taking a short near the 200. Yes, we went a lot higher on Friday, but I didn't take on any new trades here in Tesla because I'm looking for this Nvidia trade, and maybe I'm a little bit too late because yeah, I wanted to wait for the $287, but you see today we are lower 2.7% already, so maybe I will be late to this short trade here. So we just went into this resistance area and were sold off immediately. So yeah, let's see if we close this gap again and can go back into the resistance zone, or if this is already the beginning of the sell-off. But you can still enter this short trade here. If we go below 260, then it would be a clear sign that we will break this uptrend and go below the previous low points here. And there's still some potential back to 220 or even lower. Let's see, main target is 220, next target is the $200 level here, these two Fibonacci levels. So it's still interesting to take it below the 260. Do you trade electricity futures or stocks, and how can someone get into that? No, I don't trade because I'm not able to. Yes, I could trade, but it is difficult to get the permission to trade on Leipzig exchange here in Germany. You could trade electricity prices and also emission certificates, but I'm not trading it because it's not really liquid, and it's not really interesting for a retail trader to trade these instruments. I'm sticking to the liquid ones like crude oil, natural gas, and other commodity futures. I'm not trading electricity or emission certificates. Let's look at the VIX. Uptrending a little bit, but yeah, no real fear here. We are still not above the 20 level, and still sideways trading compared to the previous days here. So we are waiting for more fear to come in. More interesting is our wheat. Yeah, a lot of volatility even today. So we made new lows here below the previous lows. It's a red candle, 1% lower than yesterday, because probably the weather is really good in the US, and therefore there will be a good crop in the US for US wheat. But let's see, let's wait. If there are new news from Russia, then probably we can rise again pretty fast. So I will just wait on this trade because the time decay in my short put will make up the losses here in the long call. I have the 700 strike long call and 585 strike short put, my risk reversal options trade here on a wheat prices. We haven't looked at the TLT ETF, so you see the last consecutive trading days we went to the upside. Even with this dividend payment we had here, we are still green and almost reached the previous high points. So this is interesting to see that the money is already flowing back into the US bonds in the bond market. And yeah, this means nothing good for the stock market, because the people are preferring the interest to have interest rates, fixed interest rates, instead of the unknown risk in the stock market. And yeah, if the fear is growing in the market and we see the interest rates expectations dropping, then probably TLT ETF will also gain more value and will get back to higher levels here. Do you prefer to trade commodities versus company stocks, and why? It depends. I'm a volatility trader, so mainly I trade where I can see high implied volatility or high implied volatility rankings. And I use both. I often use 70 to 30%, so 70% stock options versus 30% commodity options in normal markets, but this year is not a normal market situation. Therefore, I just change it. I trade 70% commodities and commodity options and only 30% stock options. So I like to trade both because it's a nice nice trade up to have both in a portfolio, because they are not so highly correlated like just trading stocks or stock options. Because with stocks and stock options I mostly trade them with short puts, so I'm mainly in a long position, long deltas. But when I trade commodities, I can also take on short positions or sell a call and therefore short commodity price. And that's more interesting because you have less correlation between these two markets. We haven't talked about orange juice, another commodity market which is trending to the upside. So didn't get back to the highest point of yesterday here, but still uptrending 0.56% today. The same like sugar. It's uptrending strongly here, so I wouldn't trade it to the short side right now. I would wait for a clear sign of a reversal here, since we had this breakout here. It was just a small reversal with this doji here for just one day, but this was already a green candle, and then we had a strong push here above. So it's not a good sign for shorties here. Therefore, wait for a clear reversal to see minimum one doji. Better to see a red candle on the next day, because here we had one doji and then the next day was a green candle. So yeah, it's pretty bullish here, even if the commercials are really short. We talked about this in orange juice, so I will show you on Finwoods again. Commercials are still pretty short here on a long term basis. So if we look on a weekly time frame, you see the commercials are still short, but they have less short positions. So while the market and the prices are uptrending, the commercials are less short. This is interesting, because if they have difficulties to hold their shorts, or if they believe the prices can go higher, then this is interesting to see, because normally when the prices are going higher, they take on more short trades and they are selling more orange juice contracts. But here it is the opposite. So while the prices are trending up to the upside in the previous 3 or 4 weeks, they are taking less short trades. So this is interesting, and this can also be dangerous if you are here in a short position. Even if we have the highest orange juice prices since 2005 here, since I have the numbers for orange juice. But you never know where the highest point will be. So it is a nice entry point for a short, but it can also be a worse and a bad entry price, because it can still get higher a lot. So be cautious if you want to short against the trend here in orange juice, even if the commercials are still short here, but they are less short compared to several weeks ago, where we had a higher short position here in the beginning of 2023. Can you make a video on how to get started on futures? I can share you an interesting video course for beginners, which is free. You can find it on Tasty Trade. So I don't have to do these videos again, because you will find all the information there for free. And it's really good. I will share it for you. Just write the comment again under my live stream as a comment, and then I will give you the link to this course, or just Google it. Okay, in 2 minutes we will have the news, so let's go back to the news. Here for ISM non-manufacturing employment and ISM non-manufacturing PMI. These two numbers will be important. We have 3-star events like crude oil inventories we have every week, but I don't think this will moved the market a lot. The news from Monday were more important, that the output will be cut by 1 million barrel a day. Let's go back to Nasdaq chart here. We want to have the news above this. Let's move to a 1 minute time frame. So still downtrending, still below the 20 EMA level, still weak. Let's see if the news will change this, or if we will see further downtrending when we see a lot lower than expected ISM non-manufacturing PMI. We have 20 seconds left. We didn't talk about the targets to the downside, but probably the 13,000 level will be important, as well as 13,080, which was a previous high point. So the numbers are lower than expected, and a lot lower than expected. Oh, these are more signs of a recession, so this is not good for the market. Yes, less inflation risk, less fear of higher interest rates, but also more recession risk. Just a little bit above the 50 and below the 50, it's not a good sign anymore for the economy. So market is just sideways trading, but I think it's more a sign of weakness. So even if we are retesting volume weighted average price, we will probably be rejected there, because the number is pretty low here compared to the forecast. Some dip buyers stepping in. I won't take on more because I already have enough shorts. But it can be interesting in a downtrend to take on a new short trade near resistance levels, and the next resistance would be here at VWAP, if the market is strong enough to pull back to volume weighted average price. But sometimes it's not strong enough and will just be rejected at the previous high. So this was a previous high point here. It's just a smaller resistance, but normally we go back to VWAP here. And often we see the first direction is the false one. So if we move to the upside in the first 3 or 5 minutes, then we often see a rejection again at the next resistance level. So first resistance here at the previous high point. We are above 9 and 20 EMA levels now. So it's a little bit more positive on a 1 minute time frame. Here on a 5 minute, it's still negative. You see we are trading below parabolic, and parabolic here acted as a resistance. So we were rejected by the parabolic dot here, still trading below 9 EMA, even if we have the third 5 minute candle in green. The trend is still negative, strongly negative. As you can see, the red line here for ADX is at 30. Everything above 20 is a stronger trend. It's weakening a little bit, this trend, but it's still negative. And on a 1 minute time frame, we have seen this crossing here. So this was an early sign of a reversal here on a 1 minute time frame. But we often see crossings, especially before the market opens, like here. We often see in the sideways trading phase crossings here of the ADX. So I would always look on higher time frames, like 5 or 15 minutes, to see if you see something like this. Here's the crossing of ADX, and we had then the change of the parabolic. So two signs that indicate a reversal to the downside, and then we were trading lower. So, and you see all the dip buyers lost on their entries. It's still downtrending. Looking good for the bears, but still no decision is made. Like always, it takes a couple of minutes until the decision is made. I want to see lower levels below the previous low points here, then probably we'll see more sell-off. Before the Easter weekend, stock markets are closed on Friday. Futures can be traded until 3:15 p.m. my time. This is 9:15 a.m. Eastern time. So you will be able to see what the market is doing on the non-farm payrolls, which are published at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, or 2:30 my time, p.m. I will not live stream tomorrow and on Friday because I'm on holiday on my own. But we will meet us next week. So let's just see the news for next week. Monday, it's a holiday here in Germany. Stock market in Germany is closed. In the US, it's open. But there are no major news. Therefore, no need for a live stream on my holiday. On Wednesday, we will have a CPI. This one are, of course, important. Therefore, I will live stream these 1 hour before the market is open. On Wednesday will be the next live stream I will host. And then right the day after CPI, we will have PPI next Thursday. So more inflation incoming next week. This one will be important. Yeah, forecast is like the previous number, 6%. So no lower interest rates. No lower inflation rates, but probably lower in interest rate expectations when the economic news are worsening here. Double top playing out here. Okay, you can say it's a double top here, but it's on a 1 minute time frame, so it's not a real double top. Nothing I would really trade. But yes, it's a lower low, so it's clearly negative. And you can take on new shorts on every time we go back to the 9 EMA or near the 9 EMA. Because you see the weakness, we have difficulties to hold above the 9 EMA on a 5 minute time frame. And here even on a 15 minute time frame, trading far below the 9 EMA. So every point near the 9 EMA is interesting to take on a trade into the trend direction, so shorting into the direction and trading lower. Really good for the bears today. So let's see the next targets here. So if we can go back to the next EMA level, the 9 EMA level on a daily time frame is 13,056. So this is about the previous high point. We had 13,081 points. So there will be probably a smaller support level here between 13,080 and 13,050. Maybe we will even go back to the 13,000 level because it's a psychological one, and there will be probably sitting some stop losses right below. So maybe we'll just try to trigger these. I don't know if this will happen today or just tomorrow, but probably we will retest this area. There's a high probability we'll get there. And if we cannot hold the 13,000 level, then the next target should be this one here, 12,840, where the 20 EMA is sitting. But you see we are still above the parabolic, and it's still an uptrend. ADX is still in positive territory here, and it's uptrending. So you are trading against the trend, like I'm trading against the trend. But I see it on a longer time frame, so it's an interesting level to be short on a longer time frame over several weeks or months, because I believe we will get into a recession and we will get more and worse data from the economy, and therefore more potential for a break of this uptrend and for a downtrend. But I don't know where the high point will be. We can still go up to 14,000 points and higher. Therefore, I'm just trading in small increments and small positions and taking out some profits at interesting support levels. And then you can still take on more if it's breaking below. But for now, it's an uptrend, even if we see a smaller correction right here. So let's see the next target as Fibonacci targets. So I take the previous high point from yesterday. Then I go back to the previous low point here. And then we will get our Fibonacci targets. You see right below the 13,000 area is 12,990. What is it? 12,986. So this can be an interesting level and will act as a support near the 13,000. Next level 12,760 and below the 50 Fibonacci here, which will be, this will be a really important level, because you can also see that the parabolic dot is sitting there, 12,577. So this one will also be important, and we had some low points here, which will also act as a supporting area. Let's see how far the markets can pull back. I'm in a smaller short position and therefore will profit from lower price levels here in Nasdaq. Let's just see ES future and then I will let you trade on your own. So the same here, trading lower yesterday and today, but still some room to get back to the 9 EMA or 20 EMA. We talked about this yesterday. There's still some potential to go back to the 4050 area where the previous high point was sitting, and the 4000 level. We see the 200 SMA line here. So yeah, more potential to the downside right now, but it is still uptrending. You are watching 30-minute candles, double top over the last few days. 30-minute candle. Okay, I can have a look at a 30-minute candle. 30-minute candle, and there's double top over the last few days. You mean this here, this double top? It's not a clear double top here. This here, yeah, maybe. But if you are looking over several days, I would use rather 4 hour and not the 30-minute. So 4 hour is more important for most traders if you are looking over several days. And yeah, you clearly see that we are below the lows of yesterday and the day before yesterday. So this is clearly negative. Even if we go back to these levels, they should act as a resistance here in this area. You see we had 1, 2, 3 candles at this in this area with low points, and therefore this should act as a resistance. 13,160 about this level, and we are clearly trading lower now, 13,110 points. So there's more downside potential. I think we will soon reach the previous low points here from Friday, which was sitting at 13,056 points. And if we can hold this, see a smaller reversal to the upside, and then on the next attempt hit the 13,000 and a little bit lower to trigger all the stop losses sitting right below the 13,000 area. So let's see what the market can bring us. Like always, everything is possible. I'm not saying that you should take any position. It's just always trade on your own, make your own due diligence. It's just for entertainment purposes what I do here in my live streams, just discussing my ideas here and preparing you for what can happen here with the markets. Do you think crude oil can go higher? Yes, I still believe crude oil can go higher, but I wouldn't trade it to the long side because it's not a nice risk-reward ratio here to take on a long trade just to get $3 to the upside, but to have all the risk here to the downside with an open gap here for, what is it, $5 gap to the downside and $3 potential to the upside. That's not interesting to take a long trade here, at least not a directional long trade. So it would rather be interesting to take on a short call. So to be a little bit bearish for the crude oil prices, because when the market is dipping, crude oil prices will also downturn. Like we see here, crude oil prices are going lower and will probably one day close this gap. And when we are in this range here, then we have a high potential that we will close a lot of this gap here. So go back to the $76.50 or $76 level, and therefore I wouldn't take on a long trade here, rather trade it to the short side with a short call, but also not trade it directional because we still have the upside potential here back to $83. I have no position in crude oil, just showing it to you and discussing it, that you know what to expect from it. Okay, Friday high and Tuesday high. Okay, Friday high and Tuesday high. Let's see this. Friday high from previous week, Friday high and Tuesday high. So if you go even more in the past, then I wouldn't use the 30-minute candles. So I would use 4 hours or even daily candles. So Friday high was here, and there we had the 13,310 in right before the closing. And then if you go to Tuesday, this was Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Also Tuesday from this week, so from yesterday. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this was a closing here. It's a double top, yes, but we had a higher level yesterday. We were just closing a little bit lower, but even the closing was higher. So the closing was 13,324 in the morning here before the opening. And the closing here was 13,310. Yeah, it's about the same level, but it was closing was 10 points higher and we reached higher levels. So yes, it's a potential double top, but I wouldn't just trade on this small double top here because yeah, we just had a 100 points correction. That's nothing. for Nasdaq, but now we are lower 200 points, and it's more interesting because we are below the previous low points. So this is more interesting now for a short than for a long. So if we go back to the breakout level, it's interesting to take on more shorts if the market is strong enough to pull back there. But if not, we can probably soon see the 13,050 points or even lower, the 13,000 level. Okay, I think we discussed enough for today. So hope you are prepared for everything. And we will meet us next week, Wednesday, for CPI data. I wish you a happy Easter, have a nice weekend, and hope you made some decent profits this week. Thank you for watching. Please give the stream a like and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so far. We will see us next week. Goodbye.